What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with this 8 days out physique update from good Vito. So the man is looking pretty damn huge, but at the same time, very dry and very shredded. So we can all agree that some of these comparisons of good Vito with the top open IFBB pros, they're the ones that we are really looking forward to come Olympia this year, which is gonna be his Olympia debut. The fact is, not many guys out there have that level of depth and that kind of detail, especially in the hamstrings and the glutes, the kind of ones that good Vito has. So he has got an amazing V-taper, especially from the front, one of the best quad insertions, and some of the biggest legs in bodybuilding right now. So the only thing that is missing on good Vito, that is more width and density. More specifically the density in the back double biceps, which is also a shot that has came up big time since he turned pro. So based on some of his updates that he posted in the last couple of weeks, his side chest also seems to have improved tremendously, which was one of his biggest weakness, one of his weakest shot. The last time we saw him on the stage, which was at this year's Arnold Brazil, especially when we compare him to the likes of Martin Fitzwater. And I must say Martin's comparison with good Vito at the Olympia this year, that is gonna be a very interesting one, since both these guys battled it out for Detroit Pro title last year. And we saw how good Vito actually looked very impressive standing next to Martin. And since that time, although Martin has improved a lot, but so has good Vito. So Vito's ability to get extremely dry and shredded, that also makes him very dangerous. So he's a very young guy and quickly gaining that look of a dense looking bodybuilder. So I think he's gonna look very competitive in that second Olympia call out. So where do you guys have good Vito placing at his Olympia debut? Is he the one who can place the highest after Behrouz Tabani out of all the guys who are making their Olympia debuts this year? Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am. So talking about Olympia debuts this year, next up we have an update from Brett Wilkin. And his long-awaited Olympia debut is finally gonna happen this year. So ideally speaking, he would have been on the Olympia stage back in 2023. So he won the Big Man Weekend towards the end of 2022. And he actually had a very productive off-season the very next year, but he had to pull out of the Olympia that year when he was literally 6 weeks out because he had that massive digestion issue. So he was pretty lucky to have bounced back from a condition like that, because all of these open bodybuilders, they require a huge amount of calories, a lot of food intake to maintain that kind of muscle mass and to put on more muscle, more size on their frame. Because that is something which is needed to be competitive at a big show like the Olympia, especially in the men's open. So, not only did Brett recover, the man is ready to make a big statement at his first ever Mr. Olympia in about 8 days' time. So it will be very interesting to see how well they nail his final look, because condition-wise it's a guarantee that the man is gonna be amongst the most shredded guys come Olympia this year. He's always spot on in that regard. But will he be able to show up considerably bigger than the look that he presented last year at the Legion Sports? Well, that is yet to be answered. So Brett's off-season, that was extremely impressive throughout this year. In fact, the man was so lean and so conditioned for most part of the year that most of us were expecting that he's gonna jump in one of these pre-Olympia shows to secure his Olympia spot for next year. So do you guys have Brett in your top 10? Next up we have an update from one of the most exciting talent who is gonna be stepping on this year's Olympia stage to make his Olympia debut, Rubiel aka Nextzilla. So the guy is in Vegas and he's looking absolutely massive, which is kind of making his face a bit smaller than usual. So when we saw the top 10 and how that is absolutely stacked this year, well, this is the reason. There are some freaks like Rubiel in this lineup who are gonna be totally unpredictable. Because, first of all, he carries a lot of size, and what if he shows up? Absolutely ripped to the bone. So his physique that we saw at the Portugal Pro this year, that was good enough to get a perfect score over guys like Nathan Diasha and Bruno Santos. And he had an additional of 10 more weeks to improve his look for his Olympia debut. So Rubiel went from a guy who was the biggest disappointment last year because the man was skipping show one after another to now becoming one of the biggest success in the men's open this year. So he won 2 shows back to back, and he also improved on his weak body parts like his shoulders and his back. So the fate of Rubiel, that is totally dependent on Rubiel himself. If he gets shredded, then he's gonna pose quite a big problem for many guys out there. He can sacrifice some size to get that extra bit of sharpness and still be one of the biggest guy on the stage. So no word has been put out by Rubiel regarding his future plans. Hopefully he will jump into one of these post-Olympia shows, like for instance Prague, where he made his pro debut a couple of years back. So the reigning Arnold champion in Classic, Mike Sommerfeld, having a serious beef over his height with one of the biggest bodybuilding media outlets from Brazil, who is continuously questioning Mike's height. So it is actually a low blow towards Mike, because all of these guys, including Mike and Ramon, their heights and weights, they will be checked on the day of the weigh-ins, and that too publicly come Olympia this year. So in that regard, Mike has nothing to hide. So many of the fans of Ramon Dino, they kind of felt offended by Milos's comment, who after watching Mike said that he's gonna be unbeatable this year. And he actually has got a reason to make that claim, because Mike looks so insane in every other physique update that he posts. The only concern is whether Mike will be able to fill out after he makes the weight cutoff, whether he will be able to get all his fullness, all his roundness back. He obviously has put on considerable amount of mass after this year's Arnold, so he was in the off-season mode since that time. So this Mike, that will most probably be the biggest version that we have ever seen from him. Just looking at the size of Mike, especially in the lower half, that kind of makes you wonder, how does he even make the weight cutoff? But as per his coach Neil Hill, that won't be an issue for him. Breon Ansley and Chris Cormier once again showing everyone why they're the dream team. Breon still rocking one of the best biceps in the entire classic physique division, and to think that he looks so awesome at the age of 46, that is truly unprecedented. The detail on the side of his legs, that is also enough to tell you that this will be another year where Breon will show up, ripped to the bone and absolutely peeled. So Breon has won every major title in classic physique division. He has 2 Olympia titles. He has won the Arnold title. In fact, he's the only one in this entire division, to hold this unique record, to have won everything to date. So we have been hearing the same thing regarding Breon since 2022, that this is gonna be the year where the newer guys will take over and Breon will slide down outside of that top 6. But he has defied the critics and all the odds over and over again. So Breon has one great advantage over some of these young guys who are all looking to take his spot. He has the density and the muscle maturity, and that is something which only comes with time. So if Breon places top 3 or top 4, that will be one hell of an accomplishment, because in 2024, he was top 5, which has been his lowest placing since he started his career in 2016. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.